All right, guys. We appreciate you and your continued listening. Just Mitch and I today, which is always a good time, discussing all the stuff and the things. So as it sits right now, today is November 20th, and we're getting into the holiday season. And one big thing that gives, I mean, sometimes me anxiety too. I mean, it'll be 9 years in a couple weeks. It still stresses me out going to stupid holiday parties. I should say stupid. I shouldn't say it like that, but there's all the junk that comes with it, man. And what we want to do with this episode is give you, I mean, actionable steps, things to think about, tips and tricks that you can use to get around the awkward conversations, or give you the tools and the confidence that you can still go to these parties and stay on the right side of this thing. So, yeah, I mean, really, Mitch, good to see you, man.
Yeah, dude, thank you. And to the listener, welcome back. This Shattered Darkness. Yeah, man, I actually like this topic. And personally, I'm kind of going through it right now, like 16 months into sobriety. And I'm going back to the scene of the crime for the holidays. So we're going back to Kansas for Thanksgiving, which I'm excited about. Like, I really do love seeing my wife's family, and they live in a very small town. There's like 80 people and lots of relatives and stuff. So it's a lot of fun. It's just very slow, and I'm used to being mentally engaged in things and having stuff to do. And that's really what has helped me stay sober. Obviously that's part of it. So it's scary, like I actually had to sit down and talk to my wife and be like, look, this is the last place I relapsed. This is a mentally scary place for me to be. Mm-hmm. And I think just communicating it with her, like, I think at first she struggled with it a little bit, like I didn't want to go, which isn't totally true. Like if I could avoid it, I would, you know what I mean? But I can't. So, and it's just only the situation, right? Of like, I don't know, man, it's weird too. Like I feel guilty, because that's what they like to do. They like to get crazy and drink and do all that stuff. And sometimes I feel guilty, like I'm stifling that, like maybe they're not doing it as much, and honestly, sometimes I don't get invited over to things or whatever, but like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel guilty because I know that they enjoy it, and I don't know, man.
That's wasted energy.
I know, but do you ever struggle with that? Like,
making
like
people feel bad that they're drinking and I'm not?
Yeah.
No, because they're drinking poison, dude? They're hurting themselves.
I mean,
that's making them look in the mirror and realize that they know they shouldn't be doing this, but they're going to do it anyway.
What about the people that don't have a problem with it?
And what's the point of drinking? It's poison. They're wasting money. They're wasting time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess.
I mean, I don't say it to them to make it even more uncomfortable, but dude, alcohol is very bad for you.
I agree.
It's socially accepted, but people just think they need to do it at these times for whatever reason, or they need to drink on the golf course. Oh, I'm way better golfer at 3 beers in. No, you're not.
Yeah, that's actually fact. I'm pretty much the same golfer. Still suck. I still suck.
Yeah, it's just completely
Rocky, get down.
Wasted.
I don't know. It's weird. Sometimes I do get that emotion though, where I'm like, I don't want people to have to cater to me all the time, and I feel like her family would do that because that's the kind of people they are. So, and I guess I just carry and it's probably not even a big deal to them, like, especially her parents, Yeah. It's probably not even that big of a deal because they're not heavy drinkers. Like I know her dad enjoys a drink here and there, and we would drink together back in the day, but I don't know, man. I guess it's just that like everybody's got to change their habits because I'm around. You know what I mean?
It's a good thing, dude.
Yeah, it is, but it still makes me feel kind of guilty sometimes.
Don't let your sobriety, don't let your confidence affect their insecurities.
Yeah. No, and that's good advice. But yeah, dude. So this is like a real life experience that we have to go through, and I think the best thing that we've done so far is communicate about it with my wife, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and she knows she was there when I relapsed, and so just communicate about it, right? I was very honest about my emotions around it and just like, look, I'm scared. This is like the scene of the crime for me. It's kind of going back to a place that could be triggering, like, and there's just not much to do there. We run around the park with the kids and there's 80 people that live in the town and probably half of them are related to my wife. So there's a lot of community, but everybody's busy, with sports and kids and all the things. And so, yeah, it's just kind of slow, and I'm not used to that.
Yeah.
So it's not as like mentally stimulating. So for me, like, how do I bridge that gap, right? How do I keep myself mentally stimulated away from that? So it's like, I called my support network, my sister and my brother, and was just like, hey, I'm going to be in Kansas for Thanksgiving. Will you just call me randomly, while I'm gone and just check in on me, and it's like, I know that having those phone calls and like, that'll be another piece of motivation to be like, okay, stay on track, So it's just, for me, it's like setting up an action plan, right? Like, and I think it could be like, that can look however you want, we're talking to you, the listener, like if you're headed into an environment like this, which you most likely are with the holidays and things like that, like, I think my biggest piece of advice is to communicate and come up with an action plan, or an escape route. If it gets too overwhelming, like, come up with something that you can do so you already are prepared and know exactly what you're going to do when you walk into that situation. It's exactly like preparing for battle. You just move the pieces where they need to move, talk to the people that you need to talk to, put a good plan in place and fight. So, but at the same time, the emotions are real. There's a lot of courage, I feel like, that has to come in this, just step up and be like, all right, I'm going to make this choice and that's the direction I'm going. So I don't know. I hope that's helpful. But what about you, man? You guys got holiday plans coming up, and you said you still, after 9 years, or get freaked out with the holiday parties and
No,
no?
I don't get freaked out. I just don't drink. It's just the when I go, I just don't want to go to a party or go somewhere where I know people are just going to get wasted. The holiday seasons is when people tend to just overdo it. There's always that one person that's wasted. Always, And the emotional side is, it's easy. Just simply don't drink, period. There's nothing, and you move on. There's nothing else to think about or feel. And this is just for me, because we're completely opposite. Like, I'm listening to you.
Can't relate to it.
Not even one iota.
Right. And that's funny, dude, because I listen to you and I feel the same way, and I'm like, how do you not have an emotion around that? And
it's simple. I was in so much pain. I caused so much chaos. My life was going to end if I was drinking.
And I get that.
I know it.
I get that. I think naturally you're just not an emotional person.
I'm emotional. A dog died yesterday. It sucks. I cried.
I don't believe you. I don't think you actually cried.
We did. But you weren't there.
I have to see a video.
So it's just about, okay, what's important? What's important to spend energy on? Spending energy on things that you can't control. I know that's not what you're talking about, but that's something right out, gone. Don't even worry about it. Things that you can control, like you're talking about, how can you be prepared?
Yeah.
But this isn't like you're going into a 10-step, mission, right?
Right.
When you listen to guys like Jocko, or reading Extreme Ownership is a really good example of this, because in everything he says, if something goes wrong, his response is good because we've planned for this.
Right.
But the only reason I bring that up is, in this circumstance, you're going to these parties. If you are freshly into this sobriety, you just need to be prepared to leave and bring someone with you. Like, if you go to this party, it gets uncomfortable, we need to leave right now, I'm out. Great. That's a perfect thing to do. Yeah. And something like in these, going on these trips and worrying about this or worrying about that, what am I going to do? Like, I just don't think that way, because I know what happens if I drink. I lose all this that I've already built up.
It's crazy, man. Like, and I definitely have that, you know what I mean? Like, And, the ownership to this podcast, obviously a relapse, I feel like would damage any credibility, so I have the, like, this motivates me, right? Like, and this honestly, dude, like one of the reasons we started it, right?
I would challenge your thinking into going into this as yeah, I'm gonna accomplish this, dude. Think of it like a race or a lift or a deal. Like I'm going in to accomplish this. I'm not scared like I'm gonna fuck up. Going confidently knowing I'm gonna beat this.
I am confident, and I don't know, man. It's just different. Like just coughed out my little pouch. That's gross. I don't know, dude. Like I think about that and I'm trying to relate to like the person that, like you said, is like on the onset of this, right? Like the emotions are super real still, and that's the thing. It's like, I want to relate to that because I still, after 16 months, feel that, and really, dude, if you think about it, it's like January of 23 is when this journey started with a relapse, like 9 months in. So it's almost 2 years with one relapse, like that's awesome. And to your point too, like I get what you're saying, like have confidence in yourself, and have confidence in the plan and the situation, like
just switch to offense.
Right. And you're absolutely right, and that's, I feel like the conversation with my wife, like bringing stuff to do, like setting up things to do with the kids, and it won't always be like that. There'll be family around and, stuff like that. And so it's just those moments of like, like nobody will know. I like to stay up late, and it's like I had found.
No one never knows anything.
But you do, and that was the thing. Like I remember having that internal battle of like, do I even say anything? Like do I just lie about this and keep moving forward?
Yeah, no, you did the right thing.
I did.
Because then if you lie about it, you're just lying to yourself.
Yeah.
Other people around you in that scenario are 100% irrelevant.
Right.
It does not matter. You might think it does because it's your wife or your son or your family. But in that scenario, had you lied to yourself, dude, we wouldn't even be sitting here. We wouldn't be doing this. You'd be divorced. You'd lose your kids.
I agree, actually. And that's one of the. I think I learned that too through, as an example, somebody else said in a AA meeting. And I just had a lot of respect for that. But, yeah, dude.
Yeah. So I think one of the things too that you can think about if you're listening to this is in the beginning. Like, let's just say this is your first holiday season. You need to be prepared that it is not going to be easy. You don't have to put yourself in those high risk scenarios.
True.
I would, in fact, advise against it.
Yeah.
Go to your holiday work party. Everybody has a holiday work party. Everybody gets taken care of. The bosses are insecure about not having alcohol because they want to not appear cheap to their employees. So they're always going to have it. You can just go say what's up and blame it on your kids. Have a babysitter, right? If you don't have kids, find another reason. You don't want to lie, but at the same time, if this is an insecure moment, just bail.
We're just planning out. Yeah.
It is not, like you said, have a plan, have an exit strategy, or have whatever. It's just not worth it to stay till the end or see people drinking and think that's fun. Or, oh my God, I just miss the social aspect of the drinking, because there is some of that too. Like sometimes I miss it too, like having shots with the boys. And
I think that's one of the hardest things, dude, about like, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but like so we went to a concert a couple of weeks ago, and one of the bartenders was like scoffed at the fact that I ordered tonic water and lime, and I was like, all right, whatever, dude, like fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went back up to get another one. And it was a different bartender, and I was like, hey, man, can I just get like a tonic water and a lime? And it was weird because he was like, are you sober? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, dude, that's dope. And he gave me this cup. Like, he's like, bring this cup back, and I'll refill it for you all night for free. So it was just like the total opposite, right? Like this that was like, oh, I'm going to make no money on this guy versus this other guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so do you guys experience that ever? Like, people are like, ugh, you know, like, oh, he's not drinking, or I don't know. It was just weird, dude. Like,
All the time.
yeah, that
All
was
the
kind of
time.
like the first time that something really happened. Literally, he was just like kind of like, I know that he was upset about the fact that I didn't order alcohol.
Because it's making him look in the mirror, dude. 100. All that is people's insecurities, man. And maybe a little bit because he is working and whatever, but you still tip him.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna have that get 5 beers and tip you $1, like whatever.
I don't think they even charged me for any of it, dude. Maybe the first one, but
They don't charge for mixers. Have you seen that, dude? Have you seen that Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where it's Charlie and Frank? Do you watch that show?
yeah.
They walk through like a hotel or something, and he's like, "Whoa, dude, they got alcohol. You said there's no alcohol." They're like, no, that's just orange juice. And he's like, "Wait,
I haven't seen that one.
people just drink mixers?" Yeah, it's weird. I had a Coke the other day. What? People just drink straight mixer?
Yeah, dude, it's good. Actually, funny enough, one of my favorite I love Bloody Mary mix.
Oh, dude, that's weird.
It is weird, but it's really good. I always like V8 though too.
Oh, okay. Dude, I feel like that like tomato stuff gives me heartburn. Like even still,
Really?
like really heavy like tomato like that. Dude, I would drink a Bloody Mary and like it back in the drinking days, instant heartburn for like 8 days because I would never stop drinking.
In the morning.
Rumplements, man. It's like mouthwash, bro.
Gross. What do you got going on for the holidays? What are you guys doing?
Just staying home. Go and bounce around all the families.
Yeah.
So, yep. And then Christmas parties, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it's I think the holiday party thing is good. Even if you're someone that's listening and you're not, not an alcoholic or don't have a problem, I think you can still benefit from not drinking or at least just having a drink. You can go as far as like you will commit to being the driver and stay good that way. Keep everybody around you safe. I think it's just so overindulged and unnecessary.
I just had a thought too, or it could go the opposite way, right? Where our example starts to permeate people's lives, like you're saying, and it's actually starting to happen in us. So I'm not going to say who this person is, but somebody very close to me has decided to quit
Hell yeah.
and then I was telling Elliot before, there's another gal, really good friend of mine from back in the day, and her mom and I are meeting tomorrow because she wants to get sober, and so it's like, and instead of thinking about it in the sense of fear, right, of like, oh, I have to go plug into their world, maybe it's a mindset shift where it's like, no, they're plugging into my world, and it's like, maybe my example will permeate their life in some way, in a positive way,
That's the whole point of doing this. Yeah. That's what we need to focus on. Normalizing sobriety. Yeah. Period. Like it's people look at it, it's Everest, and it might be
for some people,
but you have to just start. Just start. Go one day without drinking.
The craziest to me is that I haven't been able to quit nicotine, and it's like the same process, but to me, it's like, I have no desire to quit, like whatsoever, and I honestly never have ever in my life since I've been using it. So, but it's the same kind of steps, right? Like, not withdrawal is not that bad. It's like 4 days. But
something that I've realized too, like lately this past week, is somebody was like, "What do you do for yourself?" And I started thinking about it. I was like, "This podcast is something I do for myself."
mm-hmm.
And I expanded off of that, even thinking, if I view my life through the lens of always being in service, like going to my work and working until 2:30 in the morning, that was of service. Going to work and working at Love Shack, that's of service. If I view my life through the lens of always being in service versus I have to go to work, being sober and being sober around people who aren't, that's being of service to myself and them. Because like what you just said, Mitch, you might inspire and get attention from people because it's becoming more normalized.
Right.
But there are so many people that are like, oh, I should, Can't tell you how many people come into Love Shack and talk to me. They're like, oh, I should do that. And they keep going back. And they keep coming back. And each time, they're a little bit more sober. There's a gal that came in. The first time she came in, she was drunk-ish.
Yeah.
And every other time after that, she's been sober. So,
Do you think she knew that it was a sober bar?
not initially.
Yeah.
No, that was when they first opened. But every other time she's come in, she's been sober.
Dude, and it's so funny. Like, you're so right. Like, and yet, here we go. Now, right? Another learning moment. Or it's mindset, dude. Like, everything in life is mindset and action. That's a really good thought, Elliot. I really appreciate that. Because I think that that's probably the key to all this, right? Is reframing it in your mind. I'm actually excited. We have a mindset coach that's going to be coming on here in the next month and a half or so. Vince Cole.
It's the biggest thing in life, dude. Abundance mindset.
It's just crazy, dude. Like, how as humans we're just like pre-programmed to do the wrong thing.
I would argue you're not pre-programmed. Your input is your output.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
The easiest low-hanging fruit is social media. It is 100%, 98% incredibly negative.
Yeah.
Because that's what gets the clicks and that's what gets the views. Even lower hanging fruit is turn on the news and then turn it off 4 seconds later.
I didn't even know that the government shutdown ended because I don't watch the news. So do you have any like golden nuggets of wisdom outside of just don't do it?
It's more of a mindset thing. Go in on offense.
Take me through your mindset process. Like, how does that work inside of you? What does the internal dialogue look like?
It's going to be done in 5 seconds. Just don't do it.
Yeah. And that's all.
Yeah, dude, because you
have to have what motivates you? Your family? Money?
Doing the right thing.
Okay. That's what motivates you. That's like what gives you that electricity through your body. And
I don't need any motivation other than myself. No, like,
I just feel like there's not a lot of people that can relate to that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you might be a tad bit of an outlier in our generation, in that sense. Like, I'm trying to get you to go a little deeper in the sense of like, what does that is the conversation literally just like, don't do it, and then it's over?
That's it. I'm going to do this.
Because I just feel like
I'm not going to do it.
Uncommon.
It's simple. Yeah. People overcomplicate things.
That is true.
And it makes something seem very doable, impossible, because you sit there and people dwell on the thoughts and the what ifs and the worries and the concerns. And then all of a sudden you are drinking again or whatever, or you cause so much turmoil that you created trauma out of absolutely nothing. The best quote I've ever heard that is relatable to this, probably dropped it on here before, is from, it's like one of the newer Harry Potters. Newt Scamander says there's 0 point in worrying because if something goes bad, you've suffered twice.
You're right, but I would tend to say that like that and those emotions and, it's part of the human experience, right? And for me, they were kind of unmanageable emotions, that I felt like it's crazy to me. Like, I wish I was more like that.
It's a muscle you have to train.
I disagree. Because I can tell myself all day long, this is what needs to be done. I have journal entries about it, where it's like there's this block between A and C. You know what I mean? Like, C is the end game, A is the beginning, and there's this mental block between A and C.
Why can't C equal C? Don't drink. Done.
Well, and that's if you're talking to I just
I'm not trying to mess you up. I just
think about the listener, right? Think about the listener. Do you really feel like just telling somebody don't do it? Just don't do it. If that's enough?
That's where I told you it's a muscle you have to train.
I just
because you get
trying to reach people that are struggling. That is helpful,
right? And I'm telling you, that's where I'm at now. So in the beginning, it was the emotional pain that I felt I was in so much pain drinking. I wanted to stop. I couldn't stop. It hurt to drink. I lost hair. I was bald right here on my beard from drinking, and it regrew the second, or not the second I stopped, but once I stopped, it grew back. That's how much pain I was in and the damage I was doing to my body. I was so ready to quit, and the second that I could unpack and be vulnerable with my wife and like tell people how bad it was. And the cool thing is nobody left, but he's like, oh, thank God he's gonna stop drinking. We love you. What do you need? Then it was, I talked through some stuff and how we do it, but it was just, yeah, it all boiled down to, after the conversations and the therapy I had, just simply don't drink. Because Naya told me if I drink again, her and Connor are gone. Okay, well, that's easy. My health was better. I was losing weight. Great, all because of not drinking.
Are you able to put yourself in somebody's shoes that maybe is struggling with that, like emotion of fear or emotion of guilt, shame? Can you identify, like, can you empathize with those people?
Big time. The biggest thing that I struggled with for the first 7 years was giving up the guilt of all the stupid shit I did. And the second I was able to release that to God and people like you and Ryan and everybody else in my life that brought me to Christ and said, hey, dude, this is what he died for. You don't have to live with this anymore. And that was then to relate to the folks in AA who are not as spiritual as I am. Great. Have that be the doorknob or Neil Diamond or whoever. Second, you can give that up was such an emotional relief. I think that one was over time. It's not an immediate, like, hey, Nate, I'm an alcoholic. Go look how bad my car is. Oh, I know. I'm not going to leave you anyway. Cool. Huge relief. Gone.
Yeah.
But it still goes back to just potentially of asking yourself the question, are you making this a bigger deal than it really is?
See, and that right now, you broke all that down, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is good advice. I think that you're giving a process of steps, right? And that's kind of more what I'm trying to get at, is like, if somebody would have come up to me at the beginning and said, just don't drink, be like, oh, you don't think I thought about that? Mm-hmm. I would slap that person in the face.
But it doesn't, like, that doesn't come in those initial conversations.
Exactly.
And I know what you're saying. So I appreciate you helping me walk through that. But at the end of the day, it is,
and you're
that
right.
simple.
Absolutely, you're right. And we do overcomplicate it, and I agree with you. I'm just trying to get to that place of like, how did you come from where you came from and starting to this place of like 9 years later, you're just like, yeah, dude, just don't do it. Like, and I think that you do get to that point, right? But in these first year, 2 years, 18, well, whatever, like there's a lot of shit that goes down there, a lot of vulnerability, a lot of emotion, and then to mix in the holidays, like we were talking about, is just like, I don't know, man, for somebody that's really starting that journey or doing that journey. And honestly, I would say like myself, like I still don't quite I haven't been through Kansas successfully. Does that make sense? I haven't successfully navigated being in Kansas without alcohol.
This week is the f***ing week, dude.
Exactly.
Don't
dude,
get
that's the motivation, right? But at the same time, there is that fear because I haven't peaked that mountain.
I think that's the difference. And that is where I will challenge you on a mindset.
Yes. Which is great.
That weakness is going to keep pulling you down. You have to strengthen that muscle.
Okay, so let's go farther into that, right? What is it? Don't give it a voice. Talk about it, bring it up. Hey, I'm feeling this way. Like, what would you say in that moment, like, would be a good thing to do? Like, have a support person talk about that. Sorry, I'll let you answer.
No, you're good. For you right now, you should practice the art of meditation.
Actually, you're probably right, dude. I can't slow down enough to do that.
Or yoga, or running, or exercise, or something that channels your energy into one thing for X amount of time. If you can't control your mind and the thoughts that come in, they're going to flood. Or find a way to channel that flood of thoughts into something writing, journaling, notating on your phone, something.
In 42 episodes, that is probably the wisest thing that you've ever said. Like, that's spot on, bro. 100%.
Because I'm trying to relate to that person that I don't relate to, but it all starts like I was gonna say. Well, I was about to say, "Like, dude, you should have meditated 6 months ago." Like, okay, how much does that help? It doesn't. The meditation and yoga and lifting or running or whatever. Let's just use meditation because most people are fat and don't exercise.
I don't exercise. I'm skinny as shit.
Well, so there you go. You're an anomaly too. Meditation is not about sitting there thinking about a problem or a solution. You don't sit there and whenever says someone, "Oh, I'm going to go meditate on this." Maybe there's a different form of meditation that I don't know, but every time I meditate, you sit there and you either put on calm music or a guided meditation, which is a shit ton of those on YouTube that are free.
Yeah, dude, I know. They're all over the place. I actually have a subscription to Headspace.
Yeah, whatever, right? So you just sit there, and as those thoughts come in, thank you. I acknowledge you thought, but we are not coming back to that. And I just literally picture myself as like a bubble. And once you kind of get there, then you see it come in. And, oh, thank you, not right now. And just focus on your breathing in and out. And if there's any other thoughts other than that, thank you. I will deal with that later. And then it's done. And then whenever you're done, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever, then all of a sudden, like the thought comes in and it's probably your biggest issue, comes in immediately, and then you have your solution. It's awesome. And usually, dude, as weird as it is, it's like for work. Oh my God, why didn't I even think of this loan program that will totally work for that person? It's odd. You have immediate clarity. And so then you take that, and as you're just living your day-to-day life, man, I'm going to Nebraska tomorrow. And then, oh God, I acknowledge you. You're gone. And you can practice that in real life. Even furthermore, for people that play golf. Oh, dude, there's OB left and water. Nope. There's a fairway right down the middle. Boom. You're in the fairway.
And to jump off that too, meditation, because what you said, Mitch, like, I just can't do it. I'm not good at it, right? The act of meditation, when you're doing it right, is when you're doing it wrong.
I actually get really frustrated
because you go out and you screw it up and you get into your head, and that's why they call it a practice, because you're never perfect at it. You have to, you slowly and gently bring yourself back to presence, present moment, present moment, present moment. And the more you do that, that's why they call it a practice. You're never perfect at it. But the more and more you do that, the less you attach to the thoughts, like what you were saying, that flow, because nothing's permanent. And like for me, I still get cravings. But when those cravings come, I realize it's not, I don't want to drink. What I really want is mental relief. And when it gets really bad, that's when I'm attaching to the thoughts that are coming through versus just letting them go and realizing like it's a flow. It's a constant flow. It's always ever changing. This past week, I realized, for those that struggle with the idea of a higher power, the flow is a higher power. It's something you have zero control over.
Well, that's what I always liked, the way Irene Merriman described it as like white light. It's like her light, like, and that's the energy that flows through us, the world, spirituality, God, whatever you want to call it. Dude, I just always get so frustrated when I meditate.
It's good.
Yeah, you should, because it's hard.
Yeah, it's super hard. It's one of the hardest things you'll do.
I've never gone 10, 15 minutes without a thought flowing. Go away. It always happens, dude. It's going to happen.
I did a lot in rehab. It was either we had to choose between that or yoga. I was like, yeah, all right.
Yoga is the exact same thing. Yoga is, in fact, better for you in that regard, because you have to sit there and think, okay, all 10 fingers, all 10 toes, stretch out here, keep the perfect form, because it's the same thing. You're focusing on one thing and not letting the external
Dude, and that's like
drive you away.
Well, and that's like probably my biggest problem is like that, dude. Like the flood of thoughts that I get on a daily basis is unreal.
It helps you focus which ones are important.
And I would even challenge you. You just said that, Mitch. It's not a problem, it's a challenge. Yeah, I guess challenges can be overcome, but problems, oh my God, we have a problem. But challenges, it's like, let's go.
Well, hey, you guys sometimes. This has been like
Or stop.
This has been like
Stop. You could say,
love you guys.
or I'm grateful for this.
I am.
It's hard. It's not going to come easy.
Yeah, I like too that it's like you guys get to see this in real time, you know, the listener. Like, I'm there, man. Like, I'm where you guys are. You know, I'm pretty new in all this stuff, and it's hard, right? Like, I feel myself internally pressing against this idea, right, of doing yoga and meditation, and you know, my initial reaction to it is just like, okay,
Then don't do it.
no, but you're probably, it's a mindset, right? Like that's something that I created at some point in time that was like, oh, look at these weirdos that are going to do this stupid, you know? And it was a belief system that I created at some point in time and never gone through it, right? It's exactly what we talked about in Han's episode. How can I actually sit there and bash something and give all these people for it if I've never actually tried it? Right? How can I sit there and have an opinion about the trans world when I don't understand it? You know, when I haven't sat down with one person and asked them about their personal story, right? So it's that, right? Like I have to change my mindset, right? Like this is something that's helpful, right? Like you said, instead I hate you guys. Like, thank you for being honest with me and telling me the truth, because that's what real friends do. You know, and it's been 2 weeks of you guys like pouring into my life in a good way, you know, and it's last week after the episode, they both sat me down and were like, dude, you hijack conversations, you know, in a nicer way than that. And it's hard to hear, right? And you gave me the advice to go back and listen to some of the episodes again. And I did, and, you know, and you're right. You know, and the thing, it's like, I have an opportunity in this to make one of two choices. I can either be angry about it because you're attacking my character, or I can look at it as, you know what? I'm glad that I have two guys in my life that see me for who I am and are willing to tell me when shit's not going right. You know, and that's why I called and told you, like, hey, man, and it's permeating other areas of my life, right? Like, God, I feel like is telling me, dude, you need to listen. You know, just this morning, I was taking my kids to school and my son had a lollipop, you know, for his throat. And when he was done, I told him to put it in a can. And he was struggling with it, and he was talking to me, and I wasn't listening, and I just grabbed it and put it in there. And he freaked out, you know, and it was just like he wanted to do it. And even though it was a simple, small thing, like I didn't take the time to listen to him. You know, I just did what I needed to do in that moment and just did it. And he literally, dude, he's 4 years old. And I've never felt so guilty in my life over the dumbest shit. You know, and he was just like, Dad, you don't listen to me. And it was just like, oh my God, dude, like this major slap in the face from God, like, hello, I don't know how much louder I need to be, you know? And so I am in that hot seat right now, right? Where listener, you might be in that hot seat right now where people are trying to offer you advice and it feels uncomfortable.
Hot seat's too negative. Call it something different.
Yeah, it's just press into it, man.
No, I'm telling you right now, hot seat is too negative. Think of it as something different.
I actually don't mind the term hot seat. You know,
Are you putting in a negative connotation?
not necessarily. It just, to me, it means I'm in a place where action is required.
There you go.
You know, and that's it. It's like, dude, you gonna sit here and burn yourself, or are you gonna get off and go do something about it? Right. So that's kind of the way I frame it. I don't mind the term hot seat. You know, and I was talking to Elliot about this morning. I don't mind being under pressure. Okay. You know, with work, with alcohol, it's tough. With addiction, pressure in that, it's tough still. But with like work and other things like that, you know, I feel like sometimes I operate better under pressure, and it's like when I know that I have to do something, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'll get it done. But if there's any ambiguity whatsoever inside of that, my tendency is to procrastinate.
Dude, I can guarantee you take that mindset into everything, you're going to make your life a lot more simple.
And they're simple concepts, right? Just slow down, listen to your body, listen to your mind. Like that's the crazy thing too. Like, I mean, you guys have seen it, dude. I'll get in these places where it's like I'm almost manic, and I just can't stop talking. And it's just this flood of thoughts. And then I have the problem of literally saying everything that comes to my mind.
I would challenge it and say, don't listen to your mind.
Don't listen to it?
Yes. No.
Your mind's trying to kill you.
Dude, always. 99% of your thoughts are
It's crazy, man.
Listen to your gut. Your gut is, and that's when I really started to do these past 2 weeks. It's like I'm like fully now living my life. I'm like blind faith and gut feeling. Whatever my mind tells me is the story makes it. It's the thing that tells me the way things.
Well, yeah, and that's what
99% of the time it's not that.
Right. And it pre-programs your subconscious, and it's crazy, right? Like, I can sit here for 40 episodes and give the advice, but now it's time for me to go take the advice. And it's hard, right? It's a much different place to be in. So if you guys are in that struggle, man, I feel you, and I'm in it with you, and these guys are too. We all are. It's a constant battle. 9 years, Elliot, how far are you in?
Year on 3 months.
Yeah. So you're right there with me. Like, yeah, man. So I don't know, like, we just wanted to get on this morning, encourage you guys. This episode will come out around Thanksgiving. So I don't know, man. We just really want to encourage you guys and just be real. Like, I'm going through it, and it's time to take some action, Well,
4 really quick tangible things before we go. Maybe 4. If you're drinking, or if you're worried about drinking, you're at a bar setting, cocktail party, something, and you don't want to have that awkward conversation of, oh, why aren't you drinking? Just go to the bar and order a tonic soda with a lime or a Coke, but ask them to put it in a rocks glass, right, so it looks like you're drinking. The bartender will do it.
They'll probably give it to you for free.
Yeah, probably. Or if you even want to avoid that, to the bartender, just, hey, I'm designated driver, so can you just give me a Coke in a rocks glass? 100%. They're, they can't get their alcohol license without going through some safe training, bartending training, something like that. So they're gonna support you there. And then if they're I wouldn't say initially, like I was talking about, all offense, but at the same time, if someone does have that, why aren't you drinking? Maybe I have a pre-programmed response. A friend of the show is Desiree. She said, because I'll break out in handcuffs. Then they have to think about that for a minute. And like, what the fuck? I love that because it puts hilarious. Them in, it kind of immediately makes them look in the mirror, and it challenges them to really think about their drinking. Maybe not at that moment, but when they're woke up hungover, like, oof, maybe I could think about that a little more, or just say, I'm just simply not drinking tonight. Period. End of story. There are those that keep pressing, but you have to remind yourself that those are the ones that are super insecure about their drinking. Yeah, those are the ones that need to stop.
Those are the ones that need your help.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. And if that's a weird conversation, just walk away from it.
Yeah,
you're not obligated to get sucked into that negativity of poison.
Dude, and honestly, you do that 1 or 2 times, you start to build confidence, because I will say more often than not, people are like, oh man, that's awesome, dude. Like, good for you. Every once in a while you get some idiot that's like, what?
Or, dude, I just thought of this, dude. Find your best friend in the office and tell them, I'm not drinking, so can you just hang out with me? And if that person, can you just talk back or something? Because the second 2 people come up on that conversation and argue against that guy who's asking, why aren't you drinking? That person will just back off.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, I would be surprised if you had a lot of negative experiences around that, especially with family.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I was thinking more towards
Like
office party.
parties and things
But
like
dude,
that.
you have that cousin or whatever.
I mean, I was that guy. And that's what's weird about going back to Kansas too, right? Like I was that guy. And those get down, And so it's just like it's different. But I've only experienced it once, not successfully, so this will be different this time around. And the good thing is like what gives me confidence in all of it is the plan. And the fact that my wife knows exactly how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, I know she's going to support it 100%.
Yeah.
So, and her parents would too, like this is the part that makes me feel guilty. Like her dad right now is probably figuring out where he can hide all their pips. And I'm like, that sucks. But at the same time, it is what it is.
Once you text him, you don't have to hide it. I'll be fine.
That's a mindset thing. Just be thankful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Or get ahead of it and say, hey, dude, don't worry about hiding anything. Don't worry about anything. You guys just do you. I'm just simply not drinking. Done. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to drink. You are not weak. Get that weak, scared mindset out of your body, dude. That thought will not come in. It will go away.
All right. Well, I guess my challenge to myself over the next 2 weeks, because we're not going to be here next week, is to either start meditating or something like that, like more mind work,
And what I never got to finish the thought, though, when I said don't do it. Just if the meditating doesn't work, just find something you can work on, like woodworking or
See, that's what
go to a
works for me.
picnic, go to a pumpkin patch. I'm kidding.
Well, that's what actually works for me, right? Like puzzles. I can sit and do a puzzle forever, like playing a video game, like, right? Like mentally engaging in something, and that's where like my wife and her mom are really close, and, they just kind of tend to get off in their own world, and which is great. I love it, and so I end up spending a lot of time with kids, and it's all good, dude. Like,
Yeah, dude,
Like I said,
go
but
fight unicorns on Jupiter with the kids, dude.
I'm so used to just running 100 miles an hour, and so when you go back there, it's
Then
just,
bring running shoes and go run.
right?
I'm serious. That's gonna make you tired.
That's
And you can go a lot further than you think you can. You could easily run 6 miles a day. Easy. I know that sounds crazy, but you could.
it's not. Last time I ran, I think I ran 4 in a row.
Yeah. Sound hard.
I can do it, and it's like you said, it's all mindset stuff. But
Before we wrap it up, could we like maybe give like 3 to 5 like
bullet points.
no bullet points, just like coping mechanisms that we've each discovered.
Sure.
Just like a list of like 3 to 5 things.
Yeah.
Because we've had a lot of good content here, but just like a
Kind of sporadic. Yeah. Let's kind of wrap it all up.
helps each of us.
Okay. I know. I'll just say this. Mine is like puzzles, right? Engaging my mind in something challenging. That really works for me. Communicating about how I'm feeling always helps. My wife's really open about that. So I would say those 2 things are probably the best for me. Just engaging my mind in something and forgetting about the desire, and then communicating it to my wife, because then there's that level of accountability. So I would say those are my 2 bullet points.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest, I don't know, I just remember why you stopped. Remember what got you to this point, and just simply don't do it. I don't waste, it's waste. And the only reason I say that, I get frustrated because it's 100% waste of energy to think about the what ifs.
I just think it's so funny, dude. The difference between you and I, like, it's so polar opposite, but I love it.
I think it's great.
It is great.
I mean, the listener is going to be, I feel like we're kind of in between you two as far as.
Yeah.
I mean, Aaron, basically, like, I don't know if anybody's listened to the Simon Sinek Start with the Why.
Yeah.
That's essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's where success comes from anything, right? Like, and I'll tell you this, dude, what's motivated me to stay sober is this podcast, and feeling accountable to this and actually having the opportunity to pour into other people's lives. That is what motivates me. I'm not motivated by money and success and things like that. I'm motivated about what we pour into the world. Right? Anyways, go ahead with your 2 or 3.
I mean, a really simple one that helped me like early on was holding ice cubes. It's enough to get your mind. It's pain, but it's not so much pain, but it's something to like kind of distract you. Did that a lot when I was at treatment. Coloring.
Yep.
My first treatment I went through was like,
Dude, there's so many
coloring.
Yeah, there's so many dope coloring books out there.
Oh yeah, dude, the adult coloring books are intense.
Yeah, they're sick.
And I choose the most challenging
Yeah.
ones because when you're painting a line that's half a millimeter,
Right?
you need focus to do that correctly. And then just recognizing that like I'm not actually craving alcohol, I'm craving mental relief.
Right.
So what can I do to give myself mental relief? Taking a walk, looking at things far away, podcasts,
Meditation.
thing for me. Because it's enough for my mind to like focus on another two. Yeah, focus onto it. Calling a sponsor, a friend, whoever it might be, right?
Yeah.
Have your circle. Let them know that you're in that circle. So when they get a call, like they are saying, Mitch, when they get that call, I keep my ringer on and I can see those calls sometimes at 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah. And that's okay. And I'll tell you this, dude. You link up with somebody that's been through it, they'll go to hell and back with you. I'm not met one sober person that is not willing to do that.
Yeah.
And that's the glue in all of this, right? Like that's what excites me, dude, is like if we could get 200 to 300 sober people in one community all moving in a direction they're passionate about. Holy shit.
Do they ever talk about like eventually weaning away from getting strength from other people and to yourself, like eventually in rehab or
like
AA or whatever?
Why? Like your motivation change?
No, like instead of, oh my God, I'm feeling like I'm gonna drink, like, do they equip you with tools to like help with that yourself eventually instead of calling your sponsor or needing other people to keep you on track? Is that ever thought?
Yeah, if you boil this down, Elliot hit it on the head, dude. It's where your brain is at, right? It's what your mind is telling you, and so that's very personal, And yes, they give you tips and tricks, and it's what we talked about is very much what you learn in rehab, right? Create an action plan. Ice shock your mind, right? Ice on sensitive parts of your body.
Journaling,
writing.
I never journaled until this last time.
Dude.
And then I did it, and I was like, holy shit.
It's super
right.
It's super cathartic. I actually started writing my entire life story. I'm like a chapter in, and I'm just trying to write it as detailed as I can possibly remember. And so I just think it's engaging. Like for me, it's just engaging your mind in something else. Oh, dude, did you just fart? God, how did you
jump off of your question, Adam, too? Like, it's like when you're at the gym and you're lifting really heavy weights, sometimes you need a spotter, and that's what calling somebody else does.
Yeah.
It helps you train that muscle in your mind. You don't need a spotter. And then guess what? There's always another
Yeah.
Well, so you will need a spotter again.
Dude,
you're going to be okay for a while.
That's the great thing about life too, right? Like we're never there. Ever. You're always always growing, and that's something that I had to accept in my mind. There is no pinnacle, right? Maybe there is, but I'm okay with there not being. I'm okay with the grind. Like I found something that I'm extremely passionate about that fills my cup, and I'm willing to die for it. So to me, this isn't work, right? This is passion. And that's motivating for me. Very motivating in every aspect of my life.
Oh yeah.
And so it causes me to work harder so that we can fund it. It causes me to listen to constructive criticism. It's causing me to go into conversations and places like with Han, dude, where it's like, I don't understand, but I want to try anyways. I want to love on you. I want to understand who you are. And it's just expanding everything and who we are, right? And who we really So I think that's the beauty in all of it, right? You really start to truly discover yourself through the challenge, through the fight. And you know what? If you fuck up, give yourself some grace. You know, I fucked up many times and it's okay. You know, just get back on the wagon. Don't accept failure and just keep moving forward.
And don't let the perfectionism traits. I personally have never so far met a addict or alcoholic that isn't somewhat a perfectionist.
Dude,
The
that's
first time I heard that, I was like, I'm not a perfectionist. That's now.
yeah,
A
you
year in, I'm like, holy shit,
yeah,
I'm such a perfectionist. Like, if I don't do it right, I'm beating myself up.
yeah,
You know, but I started to lean into that. I had a conversation with somebody who's going to be on the podcast in December. It's like your perfectionism traits are why you're getting this your first go around, because you heard that low percentage that don't make it and you said, it's on. I'm going to do it. So they're leaning into character traits,
yes,
but also being aware of,
yeah,
okay, I have perfectionism traits, right? And not beating yourself up when you don't do it perfect, but trying to be as perfect as you can. It's a fine line.
Dude, what I always tell my kids is it's not about perfection, it's about progress. You know, and practice makes permanent. Perfection is unattainable. You know, and when I finally understood that, it just, dude, it releases a lot of baggage, you know, because you just hold yourself to this insane standard that's unattainable, you know, and it's just all you're going to do is beat yourself up because you're never going to get there.
Yep.
So just try to tell yourself it's about progress, not perfection, and practice makes it permanent. You know, you want to master something, it takes about 30,000 hours. I think there's
Yeah.
something like that, 30,000 hours to master something. So, you know, if you're at the onset of your journey, you got a long way to go. But I'm here with you. We're all here with you. Like I said, man, I'm right in the middle of the battle too. So if you guys need help, we're here to help. Farther we get into this, man, right? Like that's the motivation. We're climbing the mountain, you know, and try to be as vulnerable as possible.
Something that my first treatment center I ever went to, there's this guy, Robert, older guy, didn't have any teeth. Like, yeah, teeth are overrated. Just spoke math for a while.
Those.
Teeth are overrated.
Yeah.
But he went around the room and he's like, why are you here? When he got to me, he asked me, like, why was you here? I said, oh, I'm here to fix my, the relationship I was in at the time. And, I really want to, like, get back to myself. And, I just want to be better for her. And you know what he said to me? He said, like, this. Yeah. I was pissed. I was like, this guy doesn't know me. This guy doesn't know my relationship. And during my last, I went to North Point, a year and some change ago, and it's I went there for myself. I did not go there for anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way it's gonna work. If anybody's thinking about going to treatment, do it for you. And we were in the middle of a class, and it was right at the end of my time there, so I didn't really, care if it pissed people off because I was about to leave in 5 days. And I just said, I was like, I'm going to step on some toes by saying this, but your kid is not a good enough reason.
Yep.
Your job is not a good enough reason. Your wife's not a good enough reason. Your dog, your brother, your sister, it doesn't matter. Those are not good enough reasons for you to stick with this. You have to do it for you. If you don't do it for you, everything outside of that will benefit greatly from you doing it for you. You have to be selfish in recovery, but it's a paradox because when you're selfish, you become selfless. And then everything else in your life will improve from your selfishness.
I think it's good to have that be the reason you got there, like the catalyst. And then once you flip that mindset to being this is for you.
See, because that's what my 5-year-old daughter was in tears, bro. And that tore me up. That was enough for me to say yes to a medical detox, to Paul. Right. And then for the first 2 weeks of rehab, even my counselor was like, why the fuck are you here? Like, you paid. You literally wrote us a check and you have not engaged in any of this. And it was just, I don't know. I just felt broken, and I was just like, it was hard for me to accept that I was there. But I'll tell you, man, you're right. You hit the nail on the head. It has to come from your heart. right? And this is something that I heard in church the other day, and I'll try to rephrase it so it's not so religious, but your higher power, God, I'm just like, whatever. When you give up alcohol, you get delivered from addiction to recovery, right? You start to benefit your life, but the journey doesn't stop there. God takes you from something to another place for a purpose, right? So there's a third piece to that. You can't just recover and stop, right? There's another piece to that. God is saving you or reserving you for a purpose. And it's up to you to press into your higher power, find what that purpose is, connect it to your heart, because Elliot's right. If you don't do that and you have nothing anchoring you back to your sobriety, then dude, it just won't work.
There's so many paradoxes in recovery, because everything Aaron has said about like doing it for your why, like why you're doing it, is true. But also you need to do it for you, because if you're living externally for your recovery, it won't work. You have to live internally, and then that turns into.
Made it easier. Makes it way easier.
Yeah.
There's a Jewish. It's like symbology, basically. I'll leave you with this imagery, but I don't even remember what day it's on. But in the Jewish religion, on a certain day, they will take a cup of wine and put it in a bowl, and they fill up the cup of wine, and it overflows into the bowl. And the symbology is us as people. We have to fix this first, right? We have to fill up our cup. You have to find what you're passionate about, what lights you up, what makes your skin go electric, what gives you goosebumps when you press into it. That is your higher power calling you to something. It's for something. You have a purpose, right? But it is up to us as people to discover what that purpose is. So I think once you do that, man, then you're unstoppable. That's when sobriety becomes a superpower. So that's where we want to bridge that gap, right? Destigmatize this. If you're got family that's intervention, if you're part of an intervention, if you're pressing into any of that, stop. It's not helpful. You need to meet that person where they're at. And honestly, dude, the best thing to do is find somebody that's been through it and have that person meet with them, because it's real, and it's relatable, and it's like, I can relate to this gal that I'm meeting with tomorrow because I had a gun in my hand. I was in the back of a cop car. I went to jail. I bolted from a house. I did all this dumb shit. I punched windows. I almost killed myself multiple times. Like, somebody that hasn't been through that is never going to understand what it's like. I mean, I was just living in chaos. So if you're part of interventions, if you're doing like that, stop. If you need help and figure out how to deal with this, go to Al-Anon. Call us. We'll meet with whoever you need us to. That's why we're in this. We love this space. We love seeing people recover, and finding their true God-given purpose. That's what life is all about. That's the shit that motivates me. But anyways, do you guys have anything else to add? Okay. Ice in weird places. Engage your mind in something challenging. Puzzles, coloring. Come up with an action plan. Talk to your support person, and then reach out to them. So those are some action steps you guys can take through the holidays. We appreciate you so much. The podcast is growing. I've noticed the numbers going up on YouTube and things like that. So again, thank you. If you're listening to this, you find value in it, please subscribe to it. That means the world to us and just helps us reach people that need it. So with that, we're going to let you guys go. Thanks for listening, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Later.